News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. There's your closing bell for this Tuesday on Wall Street, where stocks reached new highs, continuing a run driven by investor optimism over artificial intelligence. And we bring you the closing numbers each day here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 gained 43 points. NASDAQ gained 151 points. The Dow gained 485 points. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.17%. The 2-year yield at 3.46%. Brent crude now trading about 2% lower at around $60.49 a barrel. WTI crude down 2.4%, trading at $56.92 a barrel. And one of the world's biggest oil service providers, Weatherford International, called Venezuela a, quote, massive opportunity for the industry. Not everybody agrees. John Bolton is a former national security advisor in President Trump's first term. He says there are too many unanswered questions surrounding Venezuela for oil companies to invest.
When you hear from the administration, the usual anonymous sources, that they think they can work with Delcy Rodriguez to transition to something, I don't know what the something is, and that the Venezuelan oil industry is just going to emerge from the ashes and suddenly be a big producer again, I think people are dreaming.
Hear more from John Bolton on the Bloomberg Balance of Power podcast. A small armada of ships booked by Chevron is sailing to Venezuela as the company emerges as the only exporter of the country's oil. At least 11 ships chartered by Chevron are scheduled to arrive in Venezuelan government-controlled ports this month, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. Trafigura Group and other traders will hold talks with the U.S. government about buying crude from Venezuela. Ben Lookock is global head of oil.
Everybody's looking about what opportunities there may be in Venezuela. So we'll be discussing it with the U.S. government. I think we can probably be of assistance. It's very clear the U.S. government wants the oil to continue to flow. They don't want civil unrest in Venezuela, so they're going to want products, gasoline, diesel, this kind of thing to enter the country. And I would say that we are well placed to assist if that's in fact what's required.
Trafigura's Ben Lookock on Bloomberg TV. A Bill Gates-backed nuclear fusion company, Commonwealth Fusion Systems, is working with NVIDIA and Siemens to develop a virtual replica of its nuclear fusion machine. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang says they need more energy.
In order for a new industry to emerge, you need energy. And so I think it's safe to say that we wish we had more energy in the United States. And so we have to invest in all sorts of different forms of energy. But whatever energy you have to make it as energy efficient as possible.
NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang speaking with Bloomberg Television at the CES event in Las Vegas. AMD CEO Lisa Su tells Bloomberg that artificial intelligence isn't just hype and that compute has to increase by 100 times over the next 4 to 5 years.
We'd like to say that AI is really going to be everywhere, and it's really for everyone. And it's for each one of us to make our businesses more productive, each one of us more productive, going forward. And so we're still in the very early innings of really unlocking the power of AI.
AMD CEO Lisa Su talked with Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow at the CES event in Las Vegas. President Trump warned Republicans that if Democrats retake control of Congress, he would be impeached for a third time and urged them to, quote, win the midterms. Trump's warnings come as Republicans face challenges in the upcoming midterm elections, with polls showing Americans' dissatisfaction with his leadership and the state of the economy. And President Trump is lamenting the death of Republican 7-term Congressman Doug LaMalfa of California, who was a reliable vote on his agenda. LaMalfa's death at age 65 reduces the GOP's already narrow control of the House to 218 seats versus Democrats' 213. The Supreme Court scheduled Friday as an opinion day. It could rule on a major redistricting case that could help the GOP keep control of Congress in the midterms. It could also rule on President Trump's global tariffs.
Frankly, we have a big Supreme Court case. I hope they do what's good for our country. I hope they do the right thing. The president has to be able to wheel and deal with tariffs.
A ruling against Trump on tariffs would undercut his signature economy policy and deliver his biggest legal defeat since he returned to the White House. European leaders issued a joint statement calling the Arctic a critical pillar of European, international, and transatlantic security, insisting that the U.S. must work with them to defend the region. Jeff Landry is President Trump's special envoy to Greenland. He tells CNBC that Trump is not ready to seize the island.
Our president is a business president. He's a business businessman. He wants the American economy to hum. He wants great trading partners.
Landry says Trump supports an independent Greenland and that the U.S. can do more for Greenland than Europe can. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. This is Bloomberg.